Let's start by laying out the basic spaces that make up the station program. You will start by adding the ticketing area, then the restrooms, and a few small storage areas. You will then use the spaces defined to create the interior walls. Set the floor selector to Station Ground Floor. Create a display set of the station building without the roof framing. You may also want to maximize the top view. Laying out spaces is one of those things that is easier to do in a top or plan view. Select the Space tool. On the Placement ribbon, set the Place By method to Draw Rectangle. When using this method, you can set the actual area so that it matches the programmed area, ensuring that the initial rectangle you place is locked to that area. Once placed, it can be modified and adjusted. Set the catalog item to Project Station Area. Fill in some of the space properties. The label or room name should be ticketing. Start the space number at 101. These will automatically increase sequentially. Set the ceiling height to 8 feet or 2,400 millimeters. Set the programmed area to be 150 square feet or 15 square meters. And then set the actual area to match that, so again 150 square feet or 15 square meters. Note all the other data that can be added to a space, all the room finishing data, for instance, which would then be used to create the room finish schedule. Place a rectangle from grid line 3 to grid line 4. Note how the rectangle is locked to the area. Once placed, a space tag is added to the model to indicate the space name, number, and area. This will be re-annotated on the drawing. Now select the space and use the handles to adjust the width by 1 foot or 300 millimeters on each side to avoid the columns. Note the change to the actual area in the space tag. Then adjust the front of the space forward by 6 inches or 150 millimeters to bring the actual area back closer to the programmed area. Select the Space tool again and place the next space for the men's toilet. Change the label and note that the space number has automatically incremented. Then change the programmed area and the actual area. Place this space in the left corner. Note that you may need to use the AccuDraw key in RZ to rotate the compass about the Z-axis so that you can draw the rectangle at the orientation you need. Draw so that the width of the space is 8 feet or 2,400 millimeters along the side of the building. Note you may need to move the platform door to make room for this restroom. Repeat for the women's toilet on the right side of the building. Now let's create some storage areas on the left and right side. This time you will set the actual area to 0, which will allow you to place the rectangular shape at any size. Now that you have laid out the basic arrangement of spaces, you can actually use those spaces to create the interior walls. Select the Wall tool. Set the catalog item to CMU 08 NR or CMU 200 NR if working in the metric dataset. Set the height to 8 feet or 2,400 millimeters. On the Placement ribbon, set the Place By option to From Space, and the justification to Left Justify. Select each of the spaces. Walls should only be created where an adjacent wall is not found. But if an extra wall is created, just delete it and clean up any remaining walls as necessary. When the walls were created, the spaces were reflooded to allow for the walls. Sometimes it is necessary to update a space if a wall has been deleted. For this, you will use the Update Space tool and select any spaces that need to be updated. If the boundary is shown dashed, then the space needs to be updated. Note that to update a space, it must be entirely within your view window. The spaces are now actually associated with the walls, so that if the wall is moved, the space will modify as well. Go back to the ticketing space and note that the side walls are clashing with the steel columns. Select the wall and use right press to bring up the context menu. Select Move and move the wall over 4 inches or 200 millimeters. Note the change to the actual area in the space tag. Now that you have the basic layout, let's place the final space for the waiting area. This time you will just flood the area. Select the Space tool and set the parameters for the waiting area. On the placement ribbon, set the Place By method to Flood Area. Toggle on Associative. Make sure the entire area to be flooded is within the view window. Data point within the space, data point again to accept. In this session, you have placed spaces in the 3D model that are initially used to track the programmed actual area, but will also be used to track the additional room data such as occupancy type and room finishes. These spaces were also used to quickly create the interior walls for the station building. In the next session, you will add the toilet room layouts by placing an architectural assembly.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.